He's only 22. He looks much more advanced than that. But I know he's a player you rate very highly, Jeremy. You've been talking about him a good bit over the last few months.
Yeah, he's solid. I love his mentality. Of course, his parents owning a pool room right there in Roanoke that's a very heavy, involved in the pool world in America, and does junior events, you know, open events, and always looking to support pool and Shane to break off.
Just a reminder, it is still race to 9, but we are on the loser's side, so that means defeat in this match will end involvement in the UK Open for this year. Now, a good situation going on here because, thanks to what I'm reliably informed is the genius scheduling of Matchroom's Jake Asby, we have a match on the other featured table at the moment where the winner will play the winner of this. It's Mark Bijsterbosch of the Netherlands against Abdullah Al Yusuf, the World Championship semi-finalist from Kuwait. So we'll be keeping a particularly close eye on that one.
And Shane should attack here. A little short with the stroke and a little early in the match and maybe a little quick. So we'll see if he can settle in. Oscar's put together a lot of nice matches over the last, you know, 8 to 10 months where he's really trying to get back to playing more. He's bought a pool room in Sacramento, and a pool room been around a long time, and he's done a lot of great things there. Family man, of course, but playing a lot more, and I think that's going to do well for him as he continues on.
And his father was quite a prominent player, wasn't he?
Absolutely. I played his dad, Ernesto, and many times. One of the best players ever to come from Mexico, and they're, of course, in Southern California. A little light with the cue ball there. That's going to be upsetting.
Well, edgy, nervy start from both players. Yeah, his father, Ernesto, did get to the last 16 of the US Open.
Yeah, knowing it was a touchy shot to start and not much room, I may have played differently on the one coming across for the 2 on the side, just because it's early. It was a touchy little draw stroke with the 4 being there. Okay, nice recovery here.
Two-time Mosconi Cup player, Oscar Dominguez.
Yeah, and I think what bodes well for him trying to come back and get into form is not much pressure on results when I talk to him, it seems like. Oh, it's kind of two-stroke, that one. Michael really didn't take much time before the delivery, and bit of nerves, it looks like, for both players.
Yeah, 100%. And if they are going to make much further progress in the UK Open, it's likely to involve a number of matches on these main tables, so they're going to have to shake that off.
Yeah, and he missed his mark by a piece there because Oscar is a very, savvy player as far as understanding things about the game and the table. And from those kind of angles on the 3 he had, he could have used a little of the side rail, bringing that ball into the upper right corner. Taking this on downtown. So obviously these two didn't get this far playing at this level, so they're going to have to settle in.
Yeah, this won't continue for the match. They will find their game, you can be quite sure. Yes, there'll still be misses in all probability, but they will find some fluency eventually. It may be a question of who finds it first.
He's going to try and move the rock a long ways here. I don't know if I'd go that far. I might just come simply behind the purple 5, and he did. I think pretty smart shot overall. I thought he was going to try and come behind the 9. That would have been a bit much. Now Shane faced with a reasonably difficult kick. Seen players miss this. That's the way I like to go right here. It gives it a good chance of separating the pink and the cue ball. Plus gives it a good chance to make the 4 in the upper left-hand corner. Excuse me. Pretty good effort there. He's going to get a bit of results. Oscar's going to have a decision. Not a tough combo if you're comfortable. Really isn't. The 8 has a pretty big pocket from this angle, and you know, if I was in his corner right here, I mean, he could bank this ball, but realistically, I really like the combination. Looks like he's going to take on the bank. So he's going to be long distance on the purple if he buries it. Oh, that's a good stroke. And held the ball nicely, Michael.
Yeah, that shot will make him feel a good bit better than some of the efforts we've seen earlier on. It's his 5th match on the loser's side. Still needs a few more wins. If you go over to that side early as he did, it's a long road back from there. But you've got to remind yourself, someone's going to make it through. 8 players in total will come through from the loser's side.
Yeah, the records will be erased going into that single elimination final 16.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you got there. We've seen it so many times over the years in big events. Someone loses a match and gets back in, often having to win a lot of matches, but walks off with the title at the end of it. So I think there's a feeling the whole tournament is reset after tonight.
Maybe save a few gray hairs if you go through the undefeated side of things. A lot of pressure, but you can also build momentum, which we saw in the first match today with Ruiz, right? Really put something special together.
I think the grey hair ship has sailed for both of us, Jeremy.
Yeah, hence why we're upstairs and not on the tables. Okay, pretty good out here after a tough miss and a 9-ball he's got to pay attention to, but just getting back to, I just don't see Oscar putting a lot of pressure on himself. He's trying to process his game from match to match, and I think it's a good thing.
Well, after an edgy start from both players, we said maybe a significant factor. Which of them shook off those nerves first? And it appears to have been Oscar Dominguez. A nice run out, as you say, Jeremy, after an error-strewn start, and Dominguez leads Shane Wolford 1-0. You were talking there about Francisco Sanchez Ruiz and how well he played on the main table earlier against Alex Kazakis. Well, he's out on table 13 now against Ko Ping Chung, so a big name is going to go out of the tournament there, because that's on the loser's side, and it's 4-all at the moment. Jake Newlove, one of the British players who's made a bit more of a name for himself this week. He was the man who ended Badr Alawadi's involvement in this championship. Newlove giving it a good go against Jose Alberto Delgado, but he trails just 7-6 at the moment. Eklund Kachi in danger of going out, 6-2 down against Alexa Payselge. Tyler Steyer, who it feels like has been playing on that loser's side since the dawn of time and just battling his way through in all sorts of ways. Well, he's 5-2 up against Max Lechner and heading for a close finish between Imran Majid and Marco Teucher. That one is 6-all at the moment.
And I think a very interesting match on our YouTube channel table 2 between Al Yusuf and Bisterbosch. Al Yusuf made a lot of noise here the last month or so, 2 months. And Bisterbosch, a name that we talk about that has really got the game. Always feared, you know, by all players really, even the ones above him know how well he plays. Still looking for a huge win.
Yeah, what he has won, though, is the opening rack of that match. And just a reminder, the winner of that will play the winner of this in the next round of the loser's side.
Okay, this is the type of shot you just got to, you know, get down on the ball and understand that you got to hit it lightly. A lot of players fear the little kick, kind of like skittish contact on the object ball, but the more confident the stroke, the less chance of that. And a nice shot there.
It's 2009 when he made his Mosconi Cup debut in Las Vegas, part of a winning team. Then had to wait a while to play again. 8 years, in fact, again in Las Vegas in 2017. He didn't win many matches, but then again, sorry to rub it in, Jeremy, neither did many other Americans that week. But he did have one win with Dennis Hatch. They beat Jason Shaw and Ralph Souquet, part of an 11-4 defeat back in 2017. That, of course, was the end of Europe's 8 in a row. The Americans snapped that streak the following year.
Yeah, I was in the stands for that 2017 Cup, and it was painful, of course, being an American and being a peer and a friend of pretty much all the guys on the team, or they're my peers, excuse me. That's the way I meant to put it, but yeah, it just didn't roll that well. I mean, the Mosconi Cup's a lot like a lot of other events. Good starts mean a lot, and it was a struggle that year getting started.
Do you see the possibility of another Mosconi appearance for him, either this year or in the future?
Well, yeah, I think he's got a good chance as far as, he's making the events, wants to make deeper runs, but he's putting matches together. Made it to the final 64 in the World Pool Championships, if I remember correctly. I think he lost his first match in the single elimination stage, but yeah, definitely Oscar's given himself some recognition.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was Naoki Oi who beat him in the last 64 at the World Championship, but only 11-10.
And that's, that's a big statement you made right there, because that's something I look at. You can't always look at just wins, but how quality the matches are. And I think a lot of people overlook that. Maybe fans just look at just one side of things, but there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, Joshua Filler had sent him over to the loser's side, but he got back to get through to the single elimination stage by seeing off Tobias Bongers in a hill-hill finish before that defeat to Naoki Oi. Now, they are some of the scores from the other tables there. Jake Newlove, told you about him. He could be bowing out, 8-6 down, but still in with a chance against Jose Alberto Delgado. Eklund Kachi trailing 6-2. Tyler Steyer has won the 8th rack to go 4 clear against Max Lechner, and Imran Majid has regained the lead at 7-6 in his match with Marco Teucher. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz in front now against Ko Ping Chung at 5-4, and Robbie Capito has won the first couple of racks against Alban Ocean. Ocean has had some struggles since he went over to the loser's side, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, sometimes really he may not have much to do with it. I mean, he's playing very capable players. Oh my, an awful kiss on the cue ball. And how many times have we seen that after a player is starting to get some things going? Almost like you see it happening at some point or another to get the other player involved.
And we saw Alex Kazakis do that at an early stage of the match against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz earlier, and he sat down for the rest of the match.
Yeah, and that one was a little bit more on Alex than I would say this one here. A couple kisses from the middle of the table. The cue ball was contained pretty well off the break for Oscar, so Shane needs to take full advantage, and he certainly should with this rack. He's got to hold the ball up a little bit here. And between the two players, maybe of recent times, you might say Shane has more match experience, but it's not even close overall.
He plays a lot, Shane Wolford. He enters a lot of tournaments, and he's been piling up some good results of late. Won 2 divisions at the Music City Classic in Tennessee back in January. And went deep in the 9-ball division at the Derby City Classic. So very active on the American scene, but he's also been playing in some of these bigger events as well. Showed well at the World Championship.
Yeah, and I think he still, of course, deals with some nerves, young man. And these are definitely a bunch of his heroes growing up, playing pool and owning a pool room, his family, so. But again, the mentality, I think, is correct for the grind of trying to come through the ranks.
So the scratch from Dominguez proving very costly. Shane Wolford capitalising to the full, closing to 2-1 behind. Eklund Kachi edging a little closer to the exit door. He's now 7-2 down against Alexa Payselj.
Yeah, and of course, you know, don't get to hang around with Eklund away from the tournaments, but knowing him the piece I do, I just kind of felt like a little mentally off this week for Eklund. Just maybe not sure of himself at times. It's the best guess I could give you.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be unfamiliar, would it? Because his mind does seem to go walkabout at times at events, and we don't see the best of him. Other times he looks unstoppable. Abdullah Al Yusuf has levelled in the early stages against Mark Bijsterbosch. 1-1 in that one, and everything else is as you were. So back to the main table.
Yeah, now Yusuf maybe mentally changing a little bit after having such nice results. You know, applying a little pressure to himself, which is understandable. Now this 2-6 has gotten locked up here. Now, sometimes you can throw the ball and basically shoot from a different position, even though the 2-6 isn't lined up towards the pocket. You can kind of make it throw towards the pocket depending on where you get at. Now, you may be able to go forward and open the 2-6. That would probably be ideal. Yeah, just like that. Now he's gotten awfully thin on the combo, so this may be a kiss shot to where he's going to have to make a real nice one in the next on the 2 all the way up. I don't think he can really go for the combination. If the 7 wasn't there, definitely he could play the combo and just kind of let the cue ball run. But here I think he's got to play the carom shot, meaning kissing off the 2, making the 6, and then having to make a pretty nice shot off the end rail with the 2 up the corner. Having a little issue with one of his sponsors' patches. He's actually done as well as he could. Didn't let the 2 get too far away. Got the cue ball off the rail, so he should make this. Just going forward for a cut shot on the 3 ball. He's overcut it. Just gets it down.
Yeah, it was one of those, wasn't it? Looked like it had missed, and as it got closer to the pocket, you thought, well, hang on, maybe it's got a chance.
Yeah, he kept his eye on it, that's for sure. All right, just 1 rail to the center of the table. It's about perfect there. Just want to pay attention. No reason to fall straight on the 7 and have to take more of a shot on the 8. All right, he got past it, so that should be okay. We may see a match or 2 to where, you know, not many racks are run overall, but I kind of got to believe it's going to be 3 to 4 to 5 racks by almost everyone who wins matches from on all the rounds from here on out. Somewhere in the match, you got to sit your opponent down.
That's what Shane Wolford has done ever since Oscar Dominguez scratched off the break in the previous rack. Wolford was 2-0 down. He's now level at 2-all. More problems for Alban Ocean against young Robbie Capito. 3-0 he now trails. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz just starting to pull away a bit from Ko Ping Chung. He's won another rack, so it's 6-4 now. Abdullah Al Yusuf, who lost the opener to Mark Bijsterbosch, has won the last 2, so he now leads 2-1. I've heard several different pronunciations of Mark's second name. I did ask Niels. He says it's Bijsterbosch.
Bijsterbosch.
So I think we need to ask the man himself, because nobody seems able to agree on it.
I would go with Niels, I would think. Niels' the type of guy, if he didn't know for sure, he'd probably say, I don't want to give you an answer.
Yeah, still involved in it, of course, Niels Fine. He's still going strong on the winner's side. He's really knuckled down a lot over the last few months and Felt he was dropping off the pace a bit and wanted to get back up among the leading players at this time of so much opportunity. So I know Niels has been working really hard on his game.
Yeah, it's inspiring. I mean, I kind of felt like that was coming from Niels anyways. Didn't think he was done by any means. Great player, knows how to win, keeps in shape, and probably a little inspired by the class of players and how many we have in the sport. Not only so many more events to play in, big events, and I would think more coming. All right, thin cut on the 1 in the side, no big deal. I think the 3 does pass, so probably just coast by the 9 ball. I caught the 9. That's a huge mistake from nowhere, really, and that's just a little bit more paying attention. And he had a choice. He could have ran the ball on the other side of the 9 coming up. Decided to pull the ball. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just a mistake you really can't afford.
Latest score from table 14. Alban Ocean 0, Robbie Capito 4. So I've just seen one of the big beasts of the European game, Jason Shaw, knocked out a few minutes ago. Could Alban Ocean be going the same way?
Well, I saw Robbie after his first win this morning, and I asked him how he felt. He said he felt even better. So didn't get to arrive here with the preparation of some, because he was in the event but didn't look like he was going to make it. But then last second got the okay there and arrived on what was day 1 of the event. And you could say really probably should have still been undefeated. Kind of let a match slip away to the youngster, Riku.
Yeah, he was looking pretty comfortable in that, but Riku Rompainen has certainly shown his comeback abilities this week.
It looks like Oscar has to use a bit of the rail here to get the 3 down, which is no problem. The light speed is the way it will hang, though, and he got it down. But a lot of times you have to understand you can hit it with a little more speed, and it kind of slides a bit more.
You might have noticed there in the background, someone who's become a very familiar face in the game, Emily Fraser of Matchroom. She's sitting in the audience there, but she's on her phone, probably off organising another tournament for these guys.
Yeah, she stays busy. She does like to really watch the action, though. She does get involved. I think she likes it more than she leads on at times, actually. That's a confident shot. He was sizing up a bank on the 7 just because difficulty on the 5, but really has struck that well.
Yeah, I love the spots on the cue ball that we have in pool, because it really demonstrated there just how fully he was using spin.
And it's understandable it's not in the snooker game, just because they don't use near as much side spin as we do in pool, and just a totally different dynamic. Great cueist all the way around, and I think champions in either game would have been champions in the other, disciplines or cue sports if they had been raised that way, but totally different in my opinion. Okay, a shot like this with the bridge, hitting a little bit of high ball, just to make sure he gets clean contact. You want to put not a ton of speed on this, but you don't want to baby it too much. Beasterbosch made a pretty big mistake there on table 2 on I thought was a routine safety.
So Oscar Dominguez did lead 2-0. He leads again at 3-2. Back in the 1980s, there was a Spanish cyclist called Pedro Delgado who won the Tour de France in 1988. Well, if you go over to the loser's side, this event can be almost as much of a slog as the Tour de France. And another Delgado, Jose Alberto, is still going strong. He's just completed a 9-7 win over Jake Newlove, one of the British players who's had a week to remember here, but it's at an end now. And it could be at an end in a few moments' time for Eklund Kaci, the Mosconi Cup player from Albania, His opponent, Alexa Peselj, is on the hill now at 8-2. Tyler Steyer leads Max Lechner 6-3. No change in the Sanchez-Ruiz match. He's still 6-4 up. Alban Ocean still trailing 4-0 against Robbie Capito. And Imran Majid and Marco Teucher seem to be involved in an epic 14th rack. It's still 7-6 to Majid there.
Yeah, the outer tables have got to be starting to get a bit more snug. They're in prime condition, but they don't quite have the lighting, cameras and everything here. So I think you'll tend to see a bit more tactical games at times. Balls tend to not break quite as well at times on the outer tables, and of course the pocket gets a bit snugger. So a little tougher decisions. Not a tough decision here for Oscar, though. Pretty doable run out. It's just got to manufacture an angle on the 3 to get to the 6. I would guess a 2-rail angle is what I'm guessing to come between the 7-8 with the cue ball. He may be able to just hold here with a light stroke on the 2 to where he can draw up table, and that would be ideal, and that's what he's done. Bit of a scrappy match early over there between Bijsterbosch and Al Yusuf. Both have gotten to the table, I believe, in every rack.
Yeah, Al Yusuf at the table at the moment. Looks like he's going to go 3-2 in front.
Oh, no, that's Bijsterbosch at the table at the moment.
Oh, my apologies.
He was there a moment ago, though, and snookered himself on a pretty routine shot from the 1 to the 2, so settling in. And I think, like I said, maybe Al Yusuf puts a little more pressure on himself after some awesome results here early in 2022.
Maybe I'll leave keeping an eye on that match to you. Keeping the focus here on the main table. Oscar Dominguez looking good now to restore that 2-rack lead that he had earlier.
Similar shot earlier, and I think it was rack 2 on the 6 ball. Just pulling the cue ball. When you're settled, you put a pretty light draw stroke here. It doesn't need much. Yeah, that's ideal. Decisions. Do you just float it in, taking a little more shot on the 9? I don't mind that at all. Or do you force the cue ball up the table and back down? I think just kill the ball here. I mean, there's an argument for both, meaning really hard to argue against both. This could overrun a little bit, get a little thinner than he wanted.
Should still get it, but just tricky enough that there's a tiny bit of doubt.
Yeah,
and the slightest hope still for Wolford in this rack.
I think the upper left-hand corner he's got to be concerned about for the cue ball a little bit, I think.
So from 2-0, he was brought back to 2-all, but Oscar Dominguez goes 2 clear again at 4-2. Imran Majid has won that epic 14th rack against Marco Teucher, so he's now leading 8-6. We saw Majid on the main table yesterday, of course, in the all-British clash against Chris Melling. Both of them struggled a bit, but Majid seems to have found some form there. Tyler Steyer 6-4 up on Max Lechner, and Alban Ocean is in real danger now of heading out of this UK Open because he trails Robbie Capito 5-0. Now you can see some of the scores going through there, how they all fit into this losers bracket.
Yeah, and you often wonder how some of those outer matches have arrived at those scores, and I wouldn't doubt that Alban Ocean, and I'd almost bet that he hasn't spent much time at the table.
You would think, wouldn't you, if he's going to be getting beaten that heavily? It's probably because he's been largely frozen out. Hopefully we can get some detail on that later.
Yeah, big, nice win against Ralph Souquet in the first match this morning for Alban, so you figure he had to play pretty well. And once he plays a good match during the day and early in the day, he usually plays his normal incredible the rest of the day as well. So
Mark Bijsterbosch has fairly swiftly taken rack 6 against Abdullah Al Yusuf to go 2 clear at 4-2.
And knowing Oscar, he won't take this one ball on. He'll play the safety behind the 3. I don't think Minnie would take this on, actually, but know Oscar pretty well. He's pretty handy with the safe shot usually. Wanted to creep the cue ball up on that 3 ball, cutting off this route on the right side. And a pretty doable kick here for Shane Wolford to get something started. He's got to come 2 rails underneath this. And the key to this is the 1 should track kind of towards the 5 and the 8. So maybe a little extra speed, making sure you contact a rail. Because a lot of times you'll send the 1 away, and if it comes directly at the 5, may not get a cushion. Okay, he's going to love this, I think. Oscar, who, of course, a pool family. We talked about his father, but they play a bit of 3 cushion. So kicking at the ball, he's a great jumper of the ball as well, but kicking at the ball is something he excels at. I wouldn't expect him to miss this, that's for sure. He's got to draw it a touch now. Uh-oh. Okay, so just like early in the match, Shane Wolford with ball at hand. He made a mistake earlier with it, but we'll see if he can handle it and get something started. That was a bit unlucky. You know, when there's a ball's width between the 1 and the rail there, Michael, you can expect the scratch, but that very little room between the rail and the 1, and Oscar's got to shake that off.
Shane Wolford pulled off a massive win at the World Championship last month, beat David O'Cady to get through to the single elimination stage, then lost to Masato Yoshioka, 11 racks to 7. Also had a good run at the International Open in his home state of Virginia back in October last year. Got to the last 32. And that's a prestige event, always strong field, big name players involved.
Yeah, real strong field and a real nice list, short list of champions. This used to be our old venue for the U.S. Open. Oh, my. So that's just, again, he wanted to get the cue ball off the rail, but you're flirting with the pocketing of the ball doing so. So that's where a little experience saying, hey, the 5's a chip shot, even if I'm on the rail, let me take no chance here on the 3 ball.
Yeah, you've always got to prioritise the pot, because even if you did happen to run out of position, at least you still get to play the next shot then. You retain control of the table, instead of which he's handed it straight back to Dominguez. And Wolford is going to be very disappointed with the number of balls he's missed, quite simply, so far in this match.
Yeah, and every pool table I kind of go by this little, you know, way of thinking. It's not what I want to do, it's more of what's needed. I think that really rings true, especially on the slick table. You know, of course, we all want to get off the rail with the cue ball there, but is it necessary? And of course, I'd love to see both these guys get as much playing time as possible, but I kind of feel like that mistake right there not only is going to make it climb to a 3-game deficit, I just kind of feel like unless Oscar really mishits the rack on the break, I think he's going to get rewarded with some shots and maybe really kind of puts this match away.
Well, it certainly helps your own mental state when you see your opponent is apparently suffering with some big match nerves. That edginess was evident, and that bad miss from Wolford.
Oscar's tempo around the table looks just ideal to me as well.
For the first time in the match, one of the players has a 3-rack lead, and it's Oscar Dominguez. 5-2 up against Shane Wolford. Marco Teucher of the Netherlands hanging on against Imran Majid. He was 8-6 down. He's got it back to 8-7. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, who had won 5 matches on the loser side coming into today. He played really well to win another one against Alex Kazakis, and he's closing in on beating another big name now. 7-4, he leads Ko Ping Chung. Eklund Kachi has got a couple of racks back against Alexa Payselge, but still in big trouble there at 8-4 down. Tyler Steyer 6-4 up on Max Lechner. Mark Boisterbosch 4-2 in front against Abdullah Al Yusuf. The winner of that plays the winner of this. But the big story developing on table 14, it's now Albin Ocean 0, Robbie Capito 6. Could the 2-time world champion be heading out via whitewash, JJ?
Well, it's quite possible, and that won't matter much to Albin, just being now the event. I think now one thing, conversely, it may do wonders for Robbie, right? I mean, here's a youngster, 20 years old. A lot of the players know how talented he is at such a young age, and if he can put some confidence together, you know, he's definitely the type that can sit you down for many games, and you never know.
And just another update on that Majid and Teucher match. It was 8-6 to Majid. Well, Teucher has now levelled us at 8-all, so we've got ourselves a hill finish on table 4.
And Kachi just put another 9-ball down, so that score will get updated, trying to make a huge comeback.
Well, that would take it back to 8-5. Needed to win 7 racks in a row. He's got 3 of them.
Tyler Steyer puts another beat on his scoreline, now 7-4 over Lechner.
Yeah, he's been on the loser side a long time, but looks to be building some momentum through it.
Yeah, this is a funny shot, top inside. I think he's an underdog to get all the way around. Making the ball, I think, tough action. If the 9 wasn't there, he would elevate and just stun back and forth for the 3 in the lower right. I think he's got to take that chance anyways. Got to put a premium on making the ball in this situation here. He's going top inside, Michael. I don't like his chances. It's just a difficult shot on the slick table. Easy to miss. Yeah, it's just... And nothing against Oscar. It's just a lot of guys miss that ball when they're distance with the top inside English.
Abdullah Al Yusuf has pulled one back against Mark Boisterbosch, now trailing 4-3.
You can see some heavy breathing there from Oscar, though. So definitely very involved in this match. I mean, he's given 110%. Big shot for Shane, though.
Well, I think if he does go on to lose this match, that won't in itself be the big disappointment for Shane Wolford, because he knew he was up against a very good, very experienced player. But what really will disappoint him, Jeremy, is that he's not produced here at all and has missed so many balls. I mean, that one was by a pretty wide margin.
Yeah, it's, you know, opportunities. When you have those opportunities, that's when it will sting a bit. If he gets a chance, maybe a timeout, you know, walk away from the table.
These guys are here to show the world what they can do, especially these young players. And it isn't happening for Wolford at the moment.
Yeah, a couple situations he had ball in hand, didn't get out. You know, the percentage, even for the guys that aren't on the, you know, the top of the heap, you know, is very high percentage with ball in hand. That's just how it is in 9-ball pool at this level. But you never know. One shot, one feeling of a confident stroke can definitely change things. Well, that was center cut.
We spoke about it in a match earlier today, didn't we? Such an important attribute to have if you have aspirations to become a top player, is to put the disappointments and the bad misses straight out of your mind. And that shot suggests Wolford has done that.
And he's still got a little work. He's just got to pay attention to. I mean, he's a little straight on the 3. I don't know if he has to take the 3 in the corner to really get out for the 4. 5's not tied up, but it's a little covered up, so. And something about, you know, you get out here and you get to break the balls. It's like when you get to break the balls in 9-ball, at least for that moment, you're definitely not in a you know, fearing or kind of like forget your mistakes a bit.
The old eyesight isn't what it used to be, but from where I'm sitting, it looks as though Robbie Capito's at the table with a chance to go 7-0 up against Alban Ocean. The much younger eyes of Jake Asby have just confirmed that for me.
Yeah, Tyler Starr at the table too with a pretty routine 7, 8, and 9 to go up 8-4 on Lechner. We'll see. Thing is, in 9-ball pool, you just never know. Now here, this is where like he doesn't really slow spin the ball much, and some players would just slow spin this coming to the high side of the 7, where he's going to play it a bit differently, it looks like. Yeah, short side on the 6, which is an awkward way to play this shot with so many other choices, or at least a few other choices. Now he may have to go short side on the 7, because he does have a bit more of a cut than I think the TV shows us. I'll tell you, a very dangerous player in my opinion also that doesn't get as much talked about because of his countrymen is the man who just defeated Shaw in our last match. Gomino can get things going.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with him and his mental strength as much as anything. He's had a couple of matches now on feature tables.
Well, he made a lot of great outs in that last game. He came with the long 1-ball combination. He came with a couple other little funny shots, you might say, to get out. And you could tell it was a very home crowd as well for Jason. This rests on the rail. This could get awkward, and it's going to do so, I think. He's going to have to elevate or play short side on the 9. So nothing easy to try and make up for some mistakes early. Is that going to get there? All right, remember the opening 1-ball he had to open the match. Pretty similar shot. He overcut it.
Yeah, it's a good point. That set the tone for much of what we've seen from Wolford so far in this match. And I would suggest this is the biggest moment of the match so far. Cannot pass up this opportunity. Yeah, nicely done. So Shane Wolford showing good mental strength there. That was far from routine, and he had a setback early on the rack, but he managed to overcome all of that, and he's back to 2 behind at 5-3. Tyler Starr on the hill against Max Lechner. It's 8-4. Alexa Pacel still on the hill against Declan Catchy, who's won 3 in a row to get back to 8-5. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz leading Ko Ping Chung 7-4. Imran Majid and Marco Teucher, no result to bring you yet from their deciding rack. And out on table 14, Alban Ocean is now 7-0 down to Robbie Capito. It's a great leveller, the way this is being organised, isn't it, Jeremy? Because someone of Alban Ocean's stature, if he was a tennis player, playing in, say, Wimbledon at the US Open, he'd always be on centre court or court 1. But here we have some of the supporting cast on the main tables, and Alban Ocean is out there battling for his future in this UK Open on one of the outside tables there. So I think that's a really good thing for the game.
No, it's great, and I think Matchroom particularly pays attention to that, making sure, you know, the big names are going to get a little more of the TV time, especially early. And obviously late, whoever runs deep in the event will definitely get that exposure, but definitely something that they've paid attention to, and not just here at many events.
Mark Boisterbosch starting to motor now. He's pulled away to 6-3 against Abdullah Al Yusuf, so it looks increasingly likely, although far from certain yet, that he will be next, waiting for the winner of this one.
Yeah, and the awesome thing about day 4 is so much drama going on here early, and we ain't even gotten to the winter side matches yet. A lot of big pairings there will be coming. A little light with the cue ball. That's kind of an easy mistake. I mean, or easy shot to make a little bit of a mistake on it. Can he hold this a much better than I'm seeing? I thought he had to really work the ball, but maybe he can just kill it.
You're right what you say about the winner's side. I mean, we've got your two big hopes, the two big Americans, Shane Van Bonen and Skylar Woodward. They're still on the winner's side. So is Joshua Filler, who showed some great form yesterday. David O'Cady, Mieszko Fortunski, who's just getting more and more dangerous all the time. And the same could be said for Oliver Szolnocki. Dennis Orcolio as well, one of the biggest names there's ever been in the game. So they're all to come on the winner's side.
Yeah, Oliver's an interesting one. I think that I haven't got to watch every match, but I don't think he's really even played his best pool, or at least the pool he's shown us in the last year and a half just yet, but still undefeated. Okay, got a little on the wrong side here. And this is where top inside on this table, you really have to stroke the ball well for it to take. If you punch it a little bit, the ball just kind of fizzle and just kind of die coming across the table. Shane looks night and day difference from the early part of this match.
Yeah, absolutely. Very encouraging signs here. Really settling into the match now. Really couldn't afford to let Oscar Dominguez get any further ahead once it went to 5-2. Wolford has now won 2 in a row. He's just one behind at 5-4. Eklund Kachi could be pulling off one of the big comebacks. He's won 4 in a row now from 8-2 down. He's close to 8-6 against Alexa Peselj. Tyler Steyer on the hill at 8-4 against Max Lechner. Ko Ping Chung hanging on against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. He's back to 7-5 down as we see some of the scores going through there. Robbie Capito, don't forget, 7-0 lead over Alban Ocean. And still no result to bring you from the hill finish on table 4 between Imran Majid and Marco Teutcher. And just looking over at table 14, it looks like Robbie Capito is closing in on an incredible 8-0 lead.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Alban at the table once.
I was thinking exactly the same every time I've looked over.
Yeah, it looks like Tyler Steyer missed a 7 ball. Max Lechner buries it and maybe extends his chances on a comeback there. Teutcher sizing up a very tough 2 ball it looks like in that hill match. Looks like he's overcut it. Imran will get to the table.
Yeah, he overcut it massively actually. That table is right down just below us here, so we've got a pretty good view of that. And it's obviously been a very tactical rack because most of the balls still on the table. They've been going for quite a while there.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd roll out, if I'd take on this jump or not. I mean, even being right-handed, it's a jump I should probably take on, but for Shane, I don't know if I do. Being left-handed and very awkward cueing. The one thing he can do here that a lot of people don't recognize is he can push the 2 down below the 5 and come, you know, if he does have to leave an offensive shot, leave something very difficult, not only to make from the end rail, but also to gain position. He's going to roll out to still more of a jump, I think, but he's going to push the 2 out of position, so I guess more of a safety now off the right side of the one. Don't think this will be passed by Oscar. I don't think so anyways. And Beisterbosch definitely settling in, and has been at the table a lot here on table 2. You can catch that on Matchroom's YouTube channel.
Yeah, a few balls away from going 8-3. He'll be at the World Cup of Pool with Niels Feyen for the Netherlands in a few weeks' time. They're not a team anyone wants to face. They would be very dangerous.
Well, in their countries, you know, that you can say that they're a very tight group, and the Netherlands is definitely one of them.
Robbie Capito leads Alban Ocean 8-0. And you know, we talk about players looking for that one big title that they need to move into that top bracket. I think Robbie Capito is maybe a level below that. I think what he's looking for at the moment is to do something like, say, what Shalnocki did last year, even get to a semi-final of one of the biggest events. That's where he's at the moment, to move up to his next level.
Yeah, and I think that would be a huge accomplishment for him. And I don't know Robbie super well. I've been around him a few times. Try to always talk to him. Seems like a very friendly guy. And, you know, the youngsters, they deal with nerves as they get deeper and deeper that they've really never felt before. And we all know how high the talent level is at a young age in this sport. But, yeah, anywhere, quarterfinals, semifinals, just, you know, play solid pool and see what happens. That's just huge accomplishments for the youngsters.
Well, it looks like he's producing the performance of a lifetime so far against Alban Ocean. If he can keep that form going, he's going to be a danger to anyone.
Now, very solid safety, which I figured he wouldn't pass up on the rollout. Oscar Dominguez, you got to remember, a little bit of a missed 3-ball, right, that early. But then it was an awful kiss on the cue ball that really slowed him down. So he's played a real solid match past that early miss. And, of course, he did get a few, you know, you could say a little bit of gifts from Shane at times. But overall has played very solid and good to see.
Oscar Dominguez keeps pretty busy on the American scene himself. He won a tournament earlier in the year, the Jay Swanson Memorial at Griff's in Las Vegas, and that's a very long-running event, Jeremy.
Yeah, I didn't know Jay. I wish I would have. So many people told me about him. A great player and a heck of a guy that passed away too early. And if you're a West Coast, that's definitely a tournament you want to win. Through the years, many great names have won that event. He got a little flat here. Does he just come too real simply to where he's kind of at there? I think that's a smart shot. And maybe simple is the word I think of when I see Oscar play these days versus maybe years ago. You know, very talented moving the cue ball, all kinds of different shots with English that he knows, of course, growing up with his dad. But when he's keeping it simple, just like most, I think they play their best pool.
Alban Ocean, who last month came within one match of a record-equaling 3rd World Championship title, has gone out of the UK Open with a 9-0 defeat at the hands of Robbie Capito. What a landmark moment that is in the career of that young man.
Yeah, he's got to like that. And like I said, talked to him earlier. He said he felt stronger, felt better. And that's scary for a 20-year-old to say something like that. And pretty scary how Oscar's playing, just kind of piecing it together one shot at a time. I know it's cliche-ish, but it sure seems to have a lot of merit.
Yeah, every time it looks as though Wolford might be coming back at him, he finds something to respond with. Never been behind in this match. And now he's 2 clear again at 6-4. So many players on the brink of going through. Imran Majid and Marco Teucher level at 8-all. With 4 other players actually on the hill right now. Mark Beisterbosch 8-3 against Abdullah Al Yusuf. Alexa Payselge at 8-6 against Declan Catchy, but he's been at 8 for a while. Catchy's won all of the last 4. Tyler Steyer 8-5 up on Max Lechner, and Francisco Sanchez Ruiz leads Ko Ping Chung by the same score. So, bit of a race to be the next through. You could see a lot of players advancing to the next round on the loser's side in these next few minutes.
Yeah, Lechner just buried another 9, so it now 8-6. And Tyler had a 7 ball. I wouldn't say routine, but one he'd certainly fancy his chances that he missed at 8-3, I believe it was, maybe 8-4. And hasn't gotten back to the table. Okay, so things settling nicely for Oscar. Referee's going to have a little work getting the template off with the 8 and 9 both there, kind of hovering near it. Should be okay though. Should be okay for Mr. Dominguez.
Yeah, Marcel Eckhart certainly the man for the job with his calm demeanour and steady hand.
Okay, he wants to draw across off the 2 to get to the 3. I don't think I play the 3-8 combo. If the 8 goes, you wait on that, I think. I think he's getting ahead of himself. I think he's supposed to draw across here. Yeah, draw across. The 4's near the 6, the 7's near the 8. No real problems beyond this shot here. Yeah, good choice. Good choice. Now he can draw off the 9 and open the 8 and 9 easily if he likes.
Just a few minutes after Alban Ocean, another member of last year's winning European Mosconi Cup team has gone out of this UK Open. Declan Catchy did get back from 8-2 down to 8-6, but Alexa Payselge has just closed it out at 9-6.
I wouldn't overthink this, and I don't even know the man that I heard some good wins from his name yesterday, but I don't even know the man that just beat Eklund. Strong, how impressive. So many good players. Yeah, a little draw stroke here. I think that's what he initially thought of, and I wouldn't second guess at this point. Just a nice soft draw stroke. Doesn't need a whole lot. Yeah, perfect. A little bit of cueing over the 8. Now this is a lot of how calm you are and how calm you can keep the stroke. The pocket will play generous here if the speed is like a medium-ish. Easy to overhit this though, being a little bit over the 8. He's not too bad. Looks like he's following the cue ball.
Marco Teucher has been at the table for an unbelievably long time, sizing up his next shot in the deciding rack against Imran Majid. There's still 5 balls on the table. I don't know how long that rack has been going on, but it's been an absolute epic, as indeed has the match. They've been playing for almost 2¼ hours now.
Yeah, and Imran was at the table with a reasonable shot a moment ago, so looks like Teucher's sizing up a tough 4 ball to possibly get a kiss shot on the 9 to end that match. That's what it appears to me anyways.
So much going on around the Copper Box Arena at the moment on this Friday afternoon. Oscar Dominguez is hoping to avoid any late drama in this one. He was 3 clear at 5-2. Shane Wolford got back to within a rack, but Dominguez leads by 3 again. It's now 7-4. He needs 2 more to advance. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz has advanced. He's closed it out with a 9-5 win over Ko Ping Chung. So that's another big name falling, but we knew a big name was going to fall in that one, because they both fall into that category. Yeah. Tyler Steyer 8-6 up on Max Lechner. That one not done yet.
No, Lechner's still at the table, I think anyways. No, that's Tyler at the table, but Teucher missed that 4 ball. that long 4-ball. So Majid back at the table. He's got a cupcake 4, but does the 5 go? We'll let you know.
And Mark Bijsterbosch is at the table, perhaps about to apply the finishing touches to what would be a 9-3 win over World Championship semi-finalist Abdullah Al Yusuf.
And Oscar would like to package that break right there. Like to keep that one the rest of the event, because it's going to most likely get him on the heel here.
We were saying earlier, all these wonderful stories and great matches we've seen so far today, Jeremy, without even getting over to the winner's side yet today. Well, that's about to change. Oliver Szolnoki of Hungary and Canada's ever-improving John Morra about to start their match on the winner's side on table 14.
Yeah, funny little shot here. It's a good look at the fillers. They'll be, at least one of them, be on pretty soon.
Yeah.
Against Luke, what's Luke's last name?
Rollison.
That's
yeah,
right.
big day for him.
Yeah, and a lot of support in the arena for him. And I've been talking with a few mutual friends, and they fancy his chances. You know, of course, filler's going to be tough, but they fancy his chances to make a deep run this event, whether he wins his next match or not.
I think he's made a pretty deep run already, really, you would say.
But I heard he's a very talented player, a very, very talented player.
Filler actually beat Shane Wolford and sent him over to the loser's side, 9-1. Now, I didn't see that match at all. As Dominguez eyes up a 2-9 combination here, perhaps?
No, I think he's going to play the run out.
Yeah, good call.
Yes.
But what I was going to say about that Wolford against Filler match, I think I was commentating on another one at the time, but people were raving about how well Joshua Filler played. Pia Filler alongside him. His wife, she did well in this tournament herself.
Yeah, Pia doesn't disappoint, it seems like. She's put some quality matches together, even when she's playing in what is a predominantly men's event. Okay, funny little stuff here, even though there's only 5 balls left and he's perfect on the 4. You can see the 7 near the point and the 8 across, so still some work left for Mr. Dominguez. And again, if he just recognizes how well he's playing, keep it simple, I think he'll handle these last 4 balls and get to a big lead, extend a big lead. Well, this cue ball's really been on a string since some early mistakes.
Yeah, it's turned into a very accomplished performance.
Yeah, I don't know if we can get the camera out to him, but the last 2 Americans left on the undefeated side over there having some conversations maybe on some what's going to happen today, that being SVB and Skyler. Of course, SVB hitting balls. That's nothing new.
Imran Majid has finally come through. He's beaten Marco Teucher 9 racks to 8. 2 hours and 18 minutes it took. A lot of that was spent on the deciding rack. And amid all that tension, Majid has come through. He will battle on in this championship. And Oscar Dominguez is on the brink of doing the same. He needs just one more. He leads Shane Wolford 8-4 now. And if he gets that one more rack, he will play Mark Bijsterbosch in the next round. The Dutchman, who will partner Niels Feijen at the World Cup in Brentwood next month, has finished it off against Abdullah Al Yusuf. That looked early on like it was going to be a close one, but Bijsterbosch really started motoring and ended up winning 9-3. Tyler Steyer with an 8-6 lead over Max Lechner.
I think that match may have concluded. See Tyler walking away from the table.
Yeah. So that means that must be over. So Tyler Steyer gets another win. Max Lechner becomes the latest notable name to fall. So with all these matches finishing around now, we'll be getting some more matches on to the tables in the next few minutes. Szolnoki and Morra just getting underway, as I said, so there'll be some other winner side matches coming on too. So much to keep an eye on here. Can Oscar Dominguez get this finished?
Well, low kiss, another kiss on the cue ball. The 1 I don't think is going to agree offensively, but Looks like a pretty routine soft safety. And a lot of times when you're playing the light safety like this, you leave a very routine kick shot. But now with some other clusters, the 3 across the table, if he can move the 1 a little bit, the 5 and the 2 and getting involved, this could leave it a very difficult kick shot depending on how good he is with the cue ball here. He could have used another inch or 2 and that would have been very tough for Shane. Now he may have a look.
Prior to this match, it was all European opponents this week for Shane Wolford. He beat Gies van Westenbrugge of the Netherlands, British player Dave Hopkin, and then a really good win over Konrad Jusicin of Poland in a hill-hill finish before that defeat to Joshua Filler.
Yeah, again, the kick shot lacking just an inch on the safety. Now, if he can hit this, watch out for the right side pocket for the cue ball, but he's got some action as far as returning a safety. He's not going to get a rail. That's going to give up ball in hand to a very solid Oscar Dominguez, at least so far. I wonder why he's doing this with ball in hand. I don't see the point in shooting the 1-2 combo. You want to get as good on the 2 to get to the 3. Yeah, don't. That was just maybe a little thought at first. I would look at the 6 and see what I like. And again, he's going for this combination. I mean, most of the time that doesn't affect you. He's obviously shooting something that's pretty simple, but getting on the 3 to get on the 5 is really the work in the rack.
Dominguez didn't get as far on the winner's side as Wolford. Just one win, in fact, against Marnot's Dean Hawks of South Africa, 9-1. Then Bruno Bernardo of Portugal sent him over to the loser's side. Comfortable wins over British player Danny King, India's Chetan Chhabra. And then the level of opposition stepped up a bit, but so did Oscar Dominguez. He ended the campaign of Billy Thorpe with a 9-6 win. Saw off Jeff Beckley, 9-3.
Yeah, now trying to defeat his 3rd American in a row. And I talked to Oscar about that loss, and he said he just didn't get to shoot much. I believe that's the same player that sat Ko Ping Yi down for so many racks before winning 9-1, I believe it was. Oscar said the man broke and ran about 6 or 7 racks in the match. And I'll tell you, he stayed very calm with the delivery, and that's a great sign for any player.
Another match just about to start on table 3, a clash of the generations. Dennis Orcolio of the Philippines. Great to see him back on the international stage, and he's playing Sanjin Pelovanovic of Bosnia-Herzegovina. That one on the winner's side. This, though, is on the loser's side, and it didn't look like it was going to be a high-quality contest early on. They both struggled, didn't they? Signs of nerves, even from the much more experienced Dominguez. But overall, he's going to be very pleased with how he's played. And he's just 3 balls away from setting the seal on this performance.
Yeah, it's been easy on the eyes watching Dominguez in this match, and very impressed. And I think he just has a different mentality than when he maybe, I wouldn't say left the game, but, you know, had some more priorities, got a business started and whatnot. Now it's about just improving as he goes, settling in. And I'll tell you what, you tend to simplify the game when you do that. Just got to stay heavy here. Easy to cut this too much and involve that left side pocket. It's kind of a slow draw stroke, you might say.
We expect...
I was worried about this, and that's what I say when you try to get too much into it.
But he's just managed to avoid the scratch.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize your club table, that ball grips very easily and comes past the side. But you just have to really rely on the bed to get you there a little bit more and just kind of, like I said, slow draw the ball back up the table.
Well, we'll see many better days ahead from Shane Wolford, I've no doubt about that. He knows he needs to improve a lot. I think that's been underlined at times in this match. But at only 22 years of age, he has basically his whole career in front of him.
Still a tester here, queuing over the pocket. This is odd. See how still he stays.
Yeah, Dominguez keeping all his composure to finish it out. He's the winner then by 9 racks to 4, and he will battle on in this UK Open. And next up on the main table, Joshua Filler, former world